Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of SFY. Sorry for yelling.
This episode is brought to you by Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Up there, we got the Great Ideas collection. We got Aristotle, Plato, Herodotus.
We've got encyclopedias for, I was going to say for days, but it's really only for like
We got
a few hours.
We got St. Augustine, a volume by him. 2 volumes by St. Thomas Aquinas.
Is that the Hardy Boys I see over there?
St. Thomas Aquinas.
You can't see it in the frame, but there's the Hardy Boys.
There's
over
the full
there.
Hardy Boys collection to boot. on top of Shakespeare.
Dude, can I say this?
Machiavelli.
Really?
There's the Machiavelli / Thomas Hobbes volume up there.
Thomas and Hobbes?
And there is Calvin and Hobbes to even boot even more over there. We got a very eclectic.
I was going to say the only Hobbes that I know is Calvin and Hobbes, but then you beat me to it.
Today's episode is brought to you actually by the book collection of the Susies.
Yeah, dude.
So today
We're shooting in a new location today, if you noticed.
all 39 of you who watched the last episode who may or may not have tuned in for this one may have noticed that we're in a different locale.
Yeah. Michael's represented by Knowledge, and I'm actually probably just blending in. I
Right
just
into the
realized I've got a
green
lot of
wall.
Well, it's tan actually, but well, let me take my glasses off. No, yeah, it's tan, and this is a lighter tan. And this is another set.
Yeah, it's brought to you by
Another
the color
thing of tan.
If we had gone with a different angle for the camera, today's episode of Sesame Street would have been brought to you by the color blue. How's that instant coffee?
Dude, this is some of the worst coffee.
Here's something to talk about. At least we got matching mugs for once.
Oh, nice, dude. I do like these mugs. They're okay.
I use them all the time here.
But
The community mugs.
dude, what is
Listen.
it? Is Folgers instant coffee?
Listen.
This episode's
To
brought
all
to
of
you
you,
by Folgers
to
instant
all of
coffee.
you who might,
Can I say that? This episode's brought to you by Folgers instant
it's brought.
coffee.
It's brought to you by a lot of things. It's brought to you by indigestion.
Jeez, dude. No, I bet, dude. For
It's
about
that-
24 hours, I've had heartburn.
That coffee ain't gonna help one iota.
Yeah.
So for
You got any Pepto-Bismol?
no, I got some apple cider vinegar.
That's not gonna help.
That'll help.
Let's go. What were we gonna say?
Yes, thank you. So I'm a different man than I was a few days ago because something in me. So I bought some. I usually buy some coffee from either one of the local coffee shops that gets
Sure.
locally or freshly roasted coffee.
How bougie can you get, Michael?
And I usually have that. I have my own coffee grinder. Those of you who know me know I'm a little bit of a snob with coffee. But something happened, and that something that happened was I ran out of coffee. And I got a little lazy. And I drove down to a local store. Shout out to Christie's gas station and market.
The niches of all niches. But I only know this because I grew up in Belgrade.
Yeah, you know about Christie's market.
Dude.
And I went down to their coffee aisle, which is just like one square yard of
Right.
shelf.
Really, yard.
And
it's
then
a yard.
and then there was, Green Mountain, pre-ground, stuff like that. And then there was a jar of Folgers classic instant coffee with a lot of dust on the top.
Can it?
So it's been sitting there for maybe a good decade. And I'm like, you know what?
Classic instant coffee. Are those things together? Can you say those things together?
It's classic. It's classically bad.
Folgers is classically bad, right?
Yeah, just ground coffee. But by instant, I took it home.
Dude.
And I'm imbibing of it right now. And you know what?
I'm going to keep drinking it.
Contrary to this guy's opinion, which is valid, it's bad. Oh, I mean, it's good. He said it's bad.
Dude.
And it is bad. But there's something about it. It has its own unique taste that only instant coffees have. And I've had instant coffees before in my life just to try it, but never stuck with it. But I think I'm gonna stick with it this
Remember
time.
that whipped coffee thing that
Yeah, that trend.
people use instant coffee for that? That's the only time I've ever had instant coffee.
Yeah, but at that point it's dressed up.
right.
It's really dressed
But
up.
so I didn't really know how bad instant coffee is. Like just taste and just like literally makes me
but
makes
you
me
know,
feel like want to be a raisin. I want to be a raisin. Just
but when you
like
think
shrivel up, you know what I mean?
and him and I, we drink coffee black pretty much exclusively.
Right.
Well, when we make it from home, you get caramel macchiatos all the time from Dunkin'
when
or
I
Starbucks.
go out, when I go out, it's an experience. I'm gonna,
I'll do something like that too sometimes. But when you make it from home, it's black.
black, yeah. Cause
And so
Yeah.
there's nothing like instant Folgers
black.
crystallized coffee that's potentially older than I am. Melted down in microwaved water. I would use my kettle,
Dude,
but the water's pretty hard here. And last time I poured it out, it was like
this
flakes.
sounds almost like a war story. Like I was over there and we just added extra water. The only thing that would make it like worse is if we're getting shelled by like North Korea at the moment. You know what I mean? And like then we were telling this story.
No, shelled by Putin.
Putin. Man.
We won't get into that. But anyway, so so long story short, I think I'm gonna I'm on the instant coffee train. But here's the thing: it's cheap and it's easy.
How cheap was it?
It was $5, and Christie's is marked up because it's a convenience store. So I'll get it at Walmart next time for even cheaper. I'll get the Walmart brand instant coffee. Yeah.
Why do you do this to yourself?
Because it's cheap and it's easy. And I'm turning into
That's not good,
a
Michael.
minimalist.
No, dude.
The thing is I went per diem at work and I'm down to 10 hours a week.
All right, that's the real reason. You're not a minimalist. You're just cheap.
I'm on a new budget.
Wow, dude.
There's a new economy.
Here's where your budget should be. Well, here's what your budget is going to be eventually. No coffee, you're going to just be warm water.
No.
Like hot water, and then you're just kind of like
I got a caffeine addiction.
maybe like
Got to have something in there.
I've been thinking about it lately. Like I've been getting like heart palpitations and like I actually don't know. I haven't been to the doctor since I was like a teenager, but I don't know what I've been getting. But I feel like my 3 cups of coffee or 3 give or take a day is probably not good. Not a good long-term plan. So
Not a good ROI.
that's not the play, is to not like have a heart attack or brain hemorrhaging when I'm like 35.
That's not going to happen on 3 cups of coffee a day.
Where's your research?
The fact that lots of people have 3 cups of coffee a day and don't have a hemorrhage at 35.
All right. Well, I'm built
cite
different.
you common knowledge.
I'm built different. So I will have brain hemorrhaging at 39
Now
at the latest.
Now let's tone it down from brain hemorrhage to like high blood pressure,
Okay. So maybe that's
some hypertension, which
Which
mean
is
in its
legit.
most extreme form could lead to strokes and heart attacks and maybe some brain hemorrhaging, but in its most extreme, maybe in 75 or 65.
still not the way to go.
Now also you could just learn because it's like your baseline consciousness. Baseline
It's
consciousness
stimuli.
is caffeinated.
Right. At this point, correct.
Let me be a real bro and cite a Joe Rogan interview.
Okay.
And to be extra bro, I won't even remember who he was interviewing. I just know it was a journalist who went off coffee for 3 months or a year.
I thought it was a month, but go ahead.
You know who I'm talking about?
I think so.
I think it was Roman Polanski. Mike Pollan.
Go ahead.
And he was just talking about how it was he came off it and it was like his consciousness was different. He didn't notice it at first until he had coffee again. And then it was like almost like being high. It was around the time that Mike Pollan was writing a book on psychedelics and drugs.
Okay.
And so
interesting.
He said that it was like a high, but when you're always on it, you don't see it, and you become tolerant.
Yeah.
And then you have withdrawals if you go without it. So he went through the withdrawals, and he just didn't have it for a long time. Had it again, and it was like, whoa. And then he was like really stimulated, and it was like being on Adderall.
But doesn't Adderall help you out?
Adderall.
Or what is that?
If you're diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah. I thought, isn't that something to help you focus or?
When you have ADHD, yes, but if you don't, it's like speed, and you just become hyperactive, and you lose weight.
Oh wow!
And you lose your appetite. Stuff.
So
like that.
I should take a weekend and just be miserable. Here's what I'm truly concerned about.
Stock up on your acetaminophen. Your Tylenol, rather.
Tylenol would work probably.
Acetaminophen is Tylenol.
Okay. All right, dude.
CRMA in the house.
That pissed me off.
I'm sure it did. That's
now
why I said it.
let's move on. What I'm truly concerned about is like my body going into shock because I'll have coffee quite late in the day sometimes, like evening.
I remember the Melville days when we were roommates. You'd go to bed drinking it, and it would be like a half a mug by your side as you fell asleep, with a half a plate of ranch dressing from the buffalo chicken you had too, next to the half a mug of coffee.
Dude.
Yeah, so you would go very late. That was the Melville days.
Just wreckage from, just like debris from buffalo chicken. Microwave buffalo chicken and ranch dressing. Oh, man.
With the mug. So you would have the coffee late in the day. And that buffalo chicken ain't good for the indigestion either. You're just going to bed on acid. I mean, high acid.
On acid.
Going to bed with high
acidic levels
in the gut. Your gut flora were in hell.
Still is.
So you're thinking you're just gonna go a month. I mean,
it could take a week to really like, because I feel like I've done it. I'm not that old though, so I haven't done it. It's not like I've been doing it for so long. It's just, but I have been heavily caffeinated for years now. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't gone a day without drinking coffee.
Not even when you're sick? Sometimes I've been so sick, I don't even want to do anything.
Okay, maybe.
And I take the headache that I get.
No, I'll typically... Well, yeah, sometimes I'm already feeling so sick that it honestly doesn't even matter. And I had an inkling when I had like COVID and I was kind of sick for a couple days. I was like, should I just quit coffee now? And I said,
when
nah.
you're ahead.
I said, nah.
When you've had a flu and you haven't had coffee in 2 or 3 days.
Right. I'm like, should I just stop? And I said, no.
No, and you hit that button.
The percolator. Man.
Or if you're like me and you get that AeroPress. Or if you're like me now, you put some water 2 minutes in the microwave and then add some
See, I'll never stoop to that level. I say that, but I could be in a worn-torn country.
A worn-torn?
At one point, and that'll be the last of my concern, is having good coffee. You know what I mean?
No, it's disgusting. This stuff is nasty.
Right.
But you know
I
what?
saw the way your face curled up into basically...
I keep going back. But this was how it was when I first had coffee. I just kept going back.
Even just smelling this.
It's an experience. You know what else is gonna do when I have good coffee? It's gonna.
Oh my God, dude!
It's gonna hit different. It's gonna hit different. Thanks for going down on this. For trying it, and you keep going back. You keep going back to it.
Yeah, because I forget how bad it is, and I'm like, I'll give it another try, and it's like, whew, bro.
It's like when you have your first cigarette.
Okay.
I don't know anything.
I don't know that either.
It's like when you first have a drink for the first time. You don't have anything. You don't have something kind of spiked, like some orange juice spiked with a drop of vodka. You just have a shot of vodka as your first thing.
Right, and then you're...
Also something I don't know about. I don't know anything about alcohol consumption. Get off Instagram.
That's another addiction that I've got is just consuming Instagram, you know. I know people are really into TikTok these days, and okay.
It's better.
It's okay. That's all right, but
But
what's better? What's better?
There's nothing like some memes.
Okay. All right.
Because that's why you're on there. It's
Instagram?
It's the memes.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I do follow some pages that are pretty good. That are just trash
because
cans.
you don't go spend hours just looking at your friends' stuff.
Sometimes I do.
That's dismal.
Yeah. I saw it can I share a realization with the world that I had yesterday? I was at work and I was like, you know what? I'm just not meant to like always be looking at other people's stuff. Like my head, like that doesn't help my headspace.
We were meant to live for so much more, and we lost ourselves.
But yeah, it was like a Monday morning or whatever it was. I was just like at work. I'm like, you know, this really isn't how. And in my mind, like my headspace, I wasn't in a good place, so I was just like, I was beginning to hate. Because I've had this feeling many times, but I just realized like how I was reacting. I was like, man, I'm beginning to like hate looking at people's stuff. But I'm like, but all it is the timing, because I'm not having a good time, and I don't need this right now.
Very good psychology on yourself.
I was just like, I would be much better off if I wasn't looking at anything like this right now.
Right, because your mood, you're looking at it through the lens of being at work.
And it's like, they're not bad. And I took a step back and I was like,
very good.
This, because I started to like be like, this is stupid. Why am I following this? I'm like, well, it's not that that's bad. It's just that
you're at work.
Yeah, and I'm like, just woke up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need that.
Monday.
Yeah, whatever. It's like, dude, what am I doing?
Probably pulled almost an all-nighter cranking through some Better Call Saul.
You know?
We're not. Let's not go there right now.
We won't. But what makes me sad about that show right now is that I'm on the last season that's come out yet. And I'm getting through it. Like I'm almost halfway through the last season that's currently out, and I know the show's not over. So I'm like, dude, I don't want to be that person that's like waiting around for and then it's like excited when the next season comes out. You know what I mean?
You mean you don't want to be like 90% of Americans?
Right. When it's like, oh, the next season's out. Yeah.
Like everyone with Stranger Things.
Like I want it to be over, and then I watch the whole thing and just binge it. You know what I mean?
Like you did with
Breaking Bad. I watched Breaking Bad. Dude, you know what's so crazy? And I don't know if this is just psychology or if this is Breaking Bad is just an insanely good show and everyone talks about it quite often. I was out to dinner last night, and I just, first of all, the people next to me, there's one dude was just so loud. And I'm like, all right, guy. Just listening to his stories basically the entire time. And I was like, I didn't even want to talk because I was like, I don't want to be like that guy. But anyway, I heard him say something. He's like, "You ever seen the show Breaking Bad?" I'm like, "There it is again." Like, and I keep seeing memes about it, and like, I'm like, man, it's huge.
It's a big show.
I guess it was a big show, yeah. But anyway, my psychology is like, I don't want to keep following a show. I want to just like slam through it at my own pace. You know what I mean? I don't want to be
5 times.
It was only 4. 3.5 really, because why are you laughing?
Because you didn't just binge it and be done with it.
It
You
was
binged
within
it,
3
then
months.
you binged it, and then you binged it.
Dude, it was within 3 months.
And now you're binging the spinoff.
It's not a spin-off. It's the origin story of a lot of people. Better Call Saul.
That's what you. That's a spinoff. It's called
a prequel. It's a prequel that's put out after.
a spinoff. It's based around 2
Somebody look that up.
side characters.
You're not looking it up right now. All right, we'll cut this out. It's all good. I'll keep this train rolling.
You keep it rolling.
So, yeah. Here I am just picking my nose.
So what's your
What the
psychology?
frig? My psychology is just like, I don't want to be sitting around because I'm going to lose interest and then I'm not going to watch the rest of it. Here's what's going to happen in about 3 days once I've finished Better Call Saul is I'm not going to watch it, obviously, because nothing else is out, and either I'll forget about it for a couple years and I'll watch it the rest of it, or I'll forget about it for life because I'll be in a new place of life at that point. You know what I mean? So that's my dilemma right now, is with watching current shows, I hate it. I hate it. You know what I mean? Anyway, tell me I'm not alone on this. I want to...
/film.com calls Better Call Saul. It's the first spinoff of Breaking Bad.
Okay, man. I just hate the word spin-off because...
It makes it sound less.
Yeah.
But is it less?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just say, sure, it's a little
Except
bit less.
for Mike's story, because I'm watching it too. And Mike Ehrmantraut's... Now no one cares about
Let's just talk
Better
about it for a
Call
minute.
Saul.
All right, we'll get it out.
All right, well, Mike Ehrmantraut's character development and backstory is interesting. Very interesting. I wish it was just that. I wish it was just about Mike. I mean, Jimmy McGill, a.k.a. Saul Goodman, is fine. If it was just him, I wouldn't be as interested by it. Whenever Mike's story comes on, switches to that, I'm more involved.
It's like half and half. It's mostly about Saul, but Mike is the other 49%, you know what I mean, of the show.
Right. And Hector Salamanca is in.
Just found out how he got paralyzed.
Don't.
All that stuff.
Not there yet. I just met him where I'm at.
Okay, good. Anyway, all I'm going to say is it's a spinoff, but I was so invested in the original that it's good. I love these characters, you know? So anyway, the only reason I bring that up is because Breaking Bad was such a good show and I hate being current on TV shows because what if the next one sucks and I'm stuck in it like, oh, maybe the next one will be good. No, I want it to all be out and people to say it's freaking awesome. Like I want it to stand the test of time, kind of.
I see. If you anticipate,
I don't want to be caught in the middle of the show and be
it's
like,
not good.
Yeah.
And then it's like if you voted for a president that sucks because you're part of the blame. No,
I don't know.
Not like
I
that
don't know
at
if
all.
it's that big, or like.
I know that head nod. That
the slow like.
Yeah. Now you don't agree with
Okay.
it.
Right. It's either I'm jumping out of my chair, or I'm like diametrically opposed to it,
Nice.
or I'm just like, sure, like okay, that's you're reaching, but okay. You know, those are the 3 modes.
Oh, my internal organs are hurting a little bit.
Oh. Ooh. I wish everybody watching this go out and buy. What was it, Michael?
Folgers Classic Instant Coffee.
Folgers Classic Instant Coffee. So you can
Classic
have a face
roast.
like
It's
this.
the word classics in it.
That kicks, you know, and it's not a good kick. Like I like coffee that's like, whew, that's good, you know, like.
Actually, you know what I meant to do with instant coffee? I was gonna get some MCT oils and some honey and some heavy whipping cream, and just have like a fat bomb for breakfast.
Okay.
And then, and it would be cheap.
Real
because,
keto.
Because it would be yeah. Well, apparently it keeps you full.
Right, because fat. Yeah, exactly.
And you don't want to eat.
Uh-huh. I get it.
Eating is important. I understand that, but we don't need to eat as much.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when it's just Taco Bell.
Bro science alert. Especially when it's just Taco Bell.
That's what.
Let me say this, dude. It's better to intermittent fast on Taco Bell than to eat a standard American diet, 3 meals a day with midnight snack.
Is this where the bro science really is
100%.
kicking in?
Let me give you my best bro science. It's better to intermittent fast on cat food than to have meat and potatoes 3 times a day with some midnight snacks and ice cream. Or even, sorry, I'm making a bad argument for that.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, I had speaking of ice cream, I had a dream last night that I was at a sports game. I'm not a sports guy at all. I don't know why I was at a stadium, but I was in the food area. It looked like it was like a mall. It's like my mind's concept of food venues at a sports stadium. And there was this ice cream. It was like this ice cream cake deli bar where you could like make your own
ice cream cake?
Yeah, they had like,
okay. And they'll finish it for you?
Or they had no, they were, a lot of it was pre-made, and then you could just order what you wanted and it would be put on your plate. And I was looking at it and I kept on like, I couldn't make up my mind because it was paralysis by analysis.
Analysis paralysis.
And I remember the people behind the counter were like
pissed.
Were like, hurry up, the game's almost over. Once the game's over, you can't order anything. And I'm like, oh shoot, give me the brownie thing looking. And that's what I dreamt of. And it was like an ice cream cake.
That was your dream?
That was, well, there was a lot that led up to that. I was a teenager again, and I was on a road trip with my dad and my stepmother, like out of state, like to like a student convention.
This sounds like hell.
It was, and it was kind of like traveling them could be a little intense.
A little rocky.
My dad's not very good at traveling. It just stresses him out. And so
okay.
And so that was where the dream started. Like I was young again. Like
I've got a dream for you after this.
I have another dream after this.
All right, let's get through this one.
And I don't know. I can't remember all the details.
So you were on a road trip to a baseball game in a
mall.
At
a baseball game, and then I was
in a mall.
Well, the food venues were. It was like a food court at a mall.
Oh, good.
And there was a ice cream cake deli bar.
Okay.
Maybe that's the next big thing. Next big thing. The other dream that I had a week ago, Friedrich Nietzsche reincarnated as my grandfather.
Franz Nietzsche?
Now think about that one.
Oh, reincarnated as your grandfather?
As my grandfather. And so I was talking to Friedrich Nietzsche, but it was my grandfather. Now that is some psychoanalysis for me. Someone needs to...
Was he acting like Gramps?
No.
That I know?
It was acting like my perception of Nietzsche from what I've read.
But he was just your grandfather?
But it looked like my grandfather, and it sounded like my grandfather.
So it sounded like Gramps?
Yes, it sounded like...
And it looked like Gramps?
It sounded like Gramps, but it was as if Nietzsche had possessed him. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher, infamous among Christians.
But here's how the body is so important. Because it shouldn't be if you're thinking about it. But just think about that. Nietzsche reincarnated as your Gramps.
Yeah, and
talking like him.
Not really talking like him.
Okay. Did he have mannerisms like him?
Well, yes, because it's his body.
Oh, dude,
But
this is so
here was
rich.
an interesting detail because Friedrich Nietzsche is German, so he spoke German, and so because he reincarnated, these are the details. My
I'm gonna
subconscious
share a quick
comes
story about your Gramps just to give some
up.
context.
No.
I will.
No. Let me finish
go.
this dream.
Let's go.
So, in a detail in my dream was because he reincarnated as my grandfather, he forgot German. So he was trying to read one of his books in German. He's like he couldn't read his own writing because he couldn't remember German, and I was like trying to help him because I know how to pronounce German words. And then he was like showing me a book that he never published called Amor Fati, which is actually not a book that Nietzsche wrote, but a concept called the love of fate. And so my knowledge of Nietzsche. And then, like, whatever the concept of my Gramps means in my mind, and it's like it melded into this weird. I'm sure it means something very significant if I analyze this dream enough.
I bet it does.
So that was a trip.
Can I just say?
And I was arguing with him about communism. I was arguing with Nietzsche about communism in ideology in the West. And then versus the East.
How is your all right? Okay, how is your dream?
This was awesome.
How is your dream like an acid trip, but like a pretty meaningful one?
It's awesome. It was amazing.
Okay, can I tell you? Can I just say
all right,
two things?
Let's get your feedback.
I'm gonna tell you.
Talk about the story about
no.
grandfather.
You just two things about your Gramps. Here's what I remember.
Moses.
Your Gramps. Well, sure. Yeah, I was like 7 years old or 8, and like pretty gullible and impressionable, and his Gramps it had like white as wool hair and it had a beard, it's like 8 inches long-ish, it's just a pretty big beard, and he was a little guy, he was a little skinny, he looked like he could be from a different, who knows, man. At that age
he could be a shepherd.
I was pretty,
Iceland.
Can I just say at that age I was pretty not exposed to the world. And I didn't know people with like long beards and like white hair like that. Like I didn't. So somebody said it was Moses, joking, obviously, from the Bible. And I'm like, me. I remember this. I was out on the kickball field. We were playing kickball. I was in the outfield. And we were just like, there's a couple of us out there, and there's like, oh, I think it was the Will Hoyts, actually, if I remember correctly.
Saying that my Gramps was
he was Moses, and I'm just like,
Moses
what?
who parted the Red Sea.
I was just like, I couldn't, put the pieces together that this was not actually Moses. But anyway, so that's story number 1. Story number 2 is just. So this is just so funny that Nietzsche and your Gramps are like one in your dream because
yes, it is.
Because your Gramps multiple times in our church growing up would, during the sermon, your Gramps would smuggle in a little harmonica,
a little key of G or key of F harmonica,
and then all of a sudden. When there'd be a pause, like about 3/4 of the way through the sermon,
coming close to an altar call,
coming close to the end to wrap up, it's pretty weighty and whatever,
the
heavy.
Spirit is resting,
and so there's a pause, opportunity, whip that thing out, and oh, Amazing Grace,
yes.
And so I remember sometimes the pastor being like, oh no, like this isn't helping. I remember at other moments it hit different. Maybe I was just younger and I was, like I said, just anyway. I digress. That's your Gramps. That's all I've got to say. And
you want to hear some more of my Gramps stories?
Can I tell my dream?
No.
Real quick. Just diametrically opposed. I'm really using that word a lot today.
Yeah.
But diametrically opposed to your dream that was like kind of weird, but like okay.
Meaningful, probably.
You're arguing with Nietzsche about communism, and this is his book. Anyway, my dream, I was a rocket, and Vladimir Putin was like gonna like nuke us, like rocket the
Oh,
U.S.
but you
And
were
I
a
was
rocket.
somehow there, and like I was like nearby when he was like looking for a rocket to pick to nuke to like
He's going through the
he was just
the,
like
the
we
nu-
gotta nuke him.
the
We gotta
nuclear
get 'em."
missile
And he's just
deli
like-
selection.
and yeah, he had like a council of people, and somehow I'm there, just like, like my point of view. I'm just like looking around, and he's just looking for like people, but a rocket, and he's like, yeah, this one,
And he points at
and
you.
I'm like, no, like because I'm gonna nuke us.
Oh, you're one of the Russians.
Incidentally, but I'm not really. I'm still from here in my mind. So he like picks me, and when I wake up, I'm just like, I'm in the rocket, and I'm like, no, I don't. I'm just like, I'm being shot.
Oh, I thought you dreamt that you were the rocket.
I am the rocket, the missile. I mean,
No, but you're in it. You're inside.
right?
it.
I'm just like, and I wake up.
You might as well be the missile at that point.
So that's my dream.
That's great.
The complexity.
The complexity, yes. I wanted to talk a little bit more about my grandfather,
All right,
my Gramps. You call him Gramps more than I do.
Gramps.
But he had this old Toyota or a Honda, but it was like a 93. It was like this old, I think it was an old Corolla.
Yeah.
And he would become a float. Him and that Corolla would become a float inside the 4th of July
Oh, the parade.
So the churches that my grandfather was affiliated with, which was a handful of them because he bounced around,
Sure.
he would pull up to the church float, like the UPC church float. He wouldn't be registered to be in the parade, but he would just pull up and ask, where's the director? Where's the parade director? And then he would pull up.
Day of? Minutes before start.
Yeah, yes. Like an hour before start.
Right.
He was a little prepared. He'd find the director, and one day I was with him.
That could be on his no, I was gonna say on his tombstone, but just like
oh yeah,
a little prepared.
a little prepared. He found a director, didn't register ahead of time, and he said to her, "Where do I go?"
And she's like,
Who
"Who are you?"
And she's, I can't remember her reaction, but he made it in many times. He was in the parade
Dude, that's
on multiple
so funny.
occasions. And so the reason why
But
my
he-
grandfather squeezed in his Corolla into the parade behind the UPC flow is because he had the salvation plan, the soteriological statement of the apostolic churches, on a sign that he
4x4.
painted
Just
on
on
one
his
as a piece
on
of
his
plywood.
rack on top of his
It's hard to describe.
dude. But he would drive that thing around for weeks
Yeah,
afterwards.
he wouldn't take it. He wouldn't take
He
it
wouldn't
off.
take it down.
And so he was given
Free
the
Bible studies.
apostolic salvation plan everywhere he went.
He was given free Bible study, drive-by Bible studies.
It's amazing my heritage. It's amazing
I love
the
it.
blood in my veins.
I love it, dude. I love
Where
it.
do I go? Where?
Were you ever with him
Yeah, one
on
year.
those ride-alongs?
Yes, one year, me and my cousin Tamara, and we were in there, and we were just in the back seat, or she was in the front seat, I was in the back seat. and he
Man,
was
some
driving.
people do police ride-alongs, but there's nothing like a 4th of July parade with Gramps ride-along. Just whipping up, where do I go? To the director. And they're like trying to figure out, what?
And in one year, because my grandfather,
What were the questions they asked him, though? Like, how did it go?
well, he kind of made it a point that he was with that float,
Oh, okay.
the UPC float.
Well, didn't they just say, why don't you ask them?
I can't remember all the details.
Yeah, true.
But he made it in, though. But there was one, and he made it in several years.
Who wouldn't let him in?
But one year, the UPC float was playing a song that had a recording of, like it was like a patriotic song. And my grandfather is a real contrarian, and he's like, America. He's not like a commie. Might be.
Not a commie, but not a.
But he's not. He doesn't.
Evangelical Republican.
No, and he's like he's got a lot of issues with United States.
Evan-publican.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yes, but and he was like, oh, they're like playing that patriotic stuff. I'm gonna back away a little bit because he didn't want to be too affiliated with the float that was playing all the patriotic stuff.
Funny,
so he was like, I'm gonna hold back a little bit.
Bro, that is so funny. That's so funny because your Gramps is saying he doesn't want to be affiliated with
the church. But yeah, he's his own thing. He tried to start a church in his backyard in his barn.
That's how it should be.
It didn't end very well. Like no one. When it came back after a while, it kind of flopped. But he tried to sort of start a prayer barn church outfit unit in his barn, and had like lots of people. Had like people coming that we know. I won't mention names.
Sure, I know some of them.
That went to it and had music and a sound system.
Ooh, yeah, dude. Wow. So all right.
And so he tried to. He was.
So he's a cult leader.
Without
not
the
your typical cult
without
leader.
the charisma.
He didn't have charisma.
Well,
he didn't have a robe.
He does have charisma. To say my Gramps doesn't have charisma is quite a statement. He doesn't have leadership skills.
Okay. Yeah, he
doesn't have administrative skills.
Sure.
He just knows how to show up and have a good time.
And he'll be
one of my birthdays when I was like not even a teenager. I think maybe 12 or 13. He came to my birthday party and he put a trash can lid on his head and he started marching around the house banging pots and pans to a beat. Bing, 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 with a trash can on his head. Bing, bing, bing.
This is Nietzsche.
No, this is my heritage.
No, but you said
this is who in my subconscious decided who was going to reincarnate it. Friedrich Nietzsche. His grandfather slapped that button.
Right, but that's because it's probably just because he's like the oldest figure in your life.
Yes, the
oldest significant
psychological significance of my grandfather makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all the exciting things in my life. Went per diem. I work very limited hours now. Been busying my time studying finance, watching free MIT lectures on YouTube, learning all the net present value.
You're going to
versus
year one of Bro University.
Huh?
You're going to year one of Bro University, right?
Well, I'm trying to be a little bit
YouTube
more
University.
than bro about it. I'm trying to be systematic and like learn these things. I'm trying to be systemic.
You do have systems.
I want to learn these things. I don't want to pay for college.
You do have drive.
Yeah, it's just will I stick? Well, I've been kind of casually studying finance stuff for like a year and a half now, so I probably will stick with it. Just momentum. There's lots of things I've kind of got really into and then fell out of it pretty quick. But the three things that kind of stick around are like music. I like philosophy and sciencey stuff. Philosophy specifically. And finance stuff. Like since I downloaded Robinhood back in 2020, it's kind of been
shout out to Vlad.
I've kind of at first I was definitely a bro. It's like to the moon. Remember that?
I remember.
A year ago.
My bank account remembers.
I've learned a lot since then. I've learned a lot of what not to do more than what to do.
Can you would it be good advice to YOLO into like one altcoin?
No.
What if you have knowledge,
Like insider knowledge?
insider trading? What if you're Nancy
Like,
Pelosi?
Do you know that did you know that all the founders of this altcoin, when they ICO'd, they had the
ISO.
tokenomics. So
Wait,
according to
ICO'd? IPO'd.
ICO is when the initial coin offering, IPO is initial public offering.
Let's go.
Oh, you just ruined my joke, but that no one would get unless you study how cryptocurrency
Crypto.
works. Unless you study how cryptocurrency works.
Cryptocurrency, dude.
If you know when all the people who got in on the ICO, if you know when they're going to all sell at once, when their initial coins go out of lockdown and they can sell just before that happens, and then maybe you might make a good profit as it runs up. That's not going to make sense to anybody. I'm sure that didn't make any sense to you.
It makes sense, but all it is you sell before the drop.
Buy the rumor. No, sorry. Buy the rumor, sell the news. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not talking about cryptocurrency. No one cares.
You're right.
People care about our dreams.
But I think people would care that I lost 1900.
If you want to disclaim that highly incriminating.
Let's actually see how much it is that I've lost so far. Dude, I don't care.
I profited.
I lost it, bro.
$387 between stonks and
Very
crypto
nice.
last year.
You know how pissed I was at you.
I got super lucky. No skill. Hardly any. Probably no skill from those gains. That was all probably luck. Not a financial advisor.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a financial advisor. But
You were so mad at me because I was sending you all those triangles.
And then you sold. Because we were talking about hodling until it goes to the moon.
Which was impossible.
Which I will do. Because I'll either lose the rest of my $675.
2023.
I'll either lose the rest of my $675, or I won't, or it'll go to the moon.
Because you still have it.
I still have all my. Well, it sold a few of my Doge. I don't know why. Oops, I just said what I invested in, but
not a financial advisor.
Not a financial advisor. But you should sink all of your money. Take out your 401k. Dump it into Doge, and we'll see a little blip, and then I'll sell. Okay.
Okay.
That's all I've got to do.
Wait. So you got mad at me because
Yes.
I sold.
Yeah.
But you know why I sold? Because it was tanking, and I had a profit. So I sold.
You're a paper-handed weenie baby. That's all I can say.
But you know what I did do? I put money into actual real cryptocurrencies.
Oh my gosh. There's no actual or real crypto. Listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you just said.
No, well they are real if you don't consider programs.
That's not
I'm
words.
gonna be the actually guy right now. If you consider the program and the software, the code, yes, they're quite real. Ethereum, Cardano, Bitcoin is kind of simple. It's not a smart contract type of currency. Oh, sorry, token. Ethereum is the network. Ether is the token that you use to on the Ether. Oh gosh, Ether is the token that you use on the Ethereum network. And there's lots of other altcoins that can be built on the Ethereum network, and the same thing with Cardano.
Let me just pause you.
Those
right
are the
here.
real projects that are going to the moon someday.
Can I pause you?
No.
You're probably right. But how long have you studied this?
About
and
a year.
That was a rough explanation, and I didn't follow.
It was a rough explanation, and I wish we wouldn't be talking about this, but we're out. But the ball's rolling.
And here's what I'm
because
going to
it's
say.
so complex. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start.
All right, cool. let's end this
I'm
debate
pissed.
with this. They're all shit coins, and they won't get my money again.
But they'll hold
I'm
it.
just kidding. I'm just joking. If it happens, it happens.
Listen, I just made
If I get
a
tip
fool
from
of myself
Nancy,
because I got defensive.
if I get a tip from Nancy Pelosi, then I'm gonna buy. But if not, I'm not gonna buy. Okay, that's all I've got to say.
I just became what I hated most.
Well, actually, your eyes get like as big as freaking Goofy, or no, as big as a cartoon. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I become a cartoon.
Your eyes get as big as.
You're right. But you know what?
A toilet bowl.
If it makes people laugh at my expense, at me acting like an idiot, then it's worth it. But as my my capital gains go up, you can laugh all you want. I'll be the one
how much,
paying your wage.
How much? Hey, let me ask you this: in 2020, how much of a gain did you make? How much did you have to pay taxes on?
$387.
Woo! He's gonna be paying all your salaries on $375 a year.
That's not bad.
A year?
For just winging it. But this year I'm hunkering down and I'm actually trying to learn. If it can be learned. If it can't be learned, it can't be learned because it is a highly complex. But I'm trying to put in the hours to actually learn how this works. Because if cryptocurrency
I'm not trying to learn anything else.
Shut up. If cryptocurrency, I'm becoming the cartoon again. If cryptocurrency does become the future, it's going to pay to learn about it now. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the aliens to come by.
Knowledge.
I'm ready for the aliens to land out back. I am ready to be of service. What am I talking about?
You're going to be... Here's what's going to happen. When the aliens come... Let me pause you right here.
When the Anunnaki... The gods of ancient Sumeria come and land and reclaim their ownership over humans because humans were genetically engineered to be their servants. Thousands of years ago, when the Anunnaki return, I will be ready to serve them and to fulfill my meaning and purpose in life.
Okay, cool. When the aliens come, you know what you're gonna be, because they're only gonna look for like the Elon Musks and the IT professionals.
That's true.
And you're going to be your Gramps. Where do I go? You're going to be your Gramps.
I'm going to be entertainment.
You're like, I got my smartphone and I've been on YouTube. Where do I go? They'll be like,
that was a rabbit hole I went down once, the Sumerian Anunnaki gods.
It sounds like it. That's what I'm talking about.
That was a fun trip.
Year 101 of bro aliens.
Flat Earth.
There's too much. You gotta have a stance. You gotta have one. There's too much. You're delving into too much here. If you're gonna go flat Earth as well, which we're not. Gosh, man. I just want to thank our sponsors.
Take another sip.
I want to thank our sponsors.
Folgers Classic. It's really great.
Oh man, Folgers Classic. Cat piss.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right.
You ready? You out of steam?
Let's ramp it up. I mean, I meant wrap it up, but I was trying to... That didn't work.
If you've made it this far, and if you're still watching...
We love you. And we just want to say that it's only up from here. And we're going to the moon. You can YOLO all your money into this podcast if you'd like. Because that's something that we can control. And you can control, because here's the reality about crypto is you can't control it. You don't know what it's gonna do. You can YOLO all your money into it, but it could go to zero and you can lose it all. YOLOing all your money into this podcast, you won't lose your money and you'll get a substantial return on your investment. Or you won't. But
not a financial advisor.
Do it.
This content is for education
Educational
and entertainment
only.
purposes only.
Bless you guys.
All right, I'm turning it off.
No.
Say what you
Bless
need to
you
say.
guys. We love you. You know.
Why is it always you that has all these things to say?
What do you got to say to
I don't have
to
anything
end
to
it?
say. It's like goodbye.
No, you can't. You're right. Hold on.
I said if you've made it this far, thanks for watching.
That's not a. All right. Okay.
What do you want? Do you want us to do a raffle? Like
No,
comment in the
dude.
video and like we'll randomly select the
There's got to be
video.
a nice ending to this, Guys, that's the episode of Sorry for Yelling. If you like what you see, stop over at our Instagram page, our YouTube page. Page? I sound like I'm freaking Ted Cruz or something. Or freaking like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Get over to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe on this video. And say something to a friend in the comments. Like, if you see another little comment in there, start a conversation. That's what the comments are for. They're not to be like, fire emoji. Dude, no one does that. That's not starting a conversation. Get in those comments and start a conversation. I'll be there.
I probably won't. I'm not very active.
Well, we love you
on the
guys
gram.
anyway. You know what all the YouTubey things to do. You know all the Instagrammy things to do. Tag us. We'll tag you. I know we won't. Tag us, like it, share it, subscribe it. I'm not really sure. I don't have a concise ending, but we love you all.
The ending is me getting up and turning off the camera.
We love you all. Peace. Yes, dude.